Yeah. You'll be sharing you'll be recording, right, Gaurav?
Yes, I have started recording.
Okay. Hi guys. So today's session we are moving towards the automation part, right? So everybody in all industry we are going towards the automation. So this topic is also part of kind of automation where we are you know uh, replacing the repetitive task or low value task with the automation part. Okay, so let me share my screen. Let me know once you are able to see. Okay, so share it. Yeah, just ping me whether you are able to see your screen.
Yes, we are able.
Okay, so let me start with the first. Okay. So everybody's aware of the topic, right? So this is CI/CD, where we'll be doing continuous integration and continuous delivery. D is like there are two parts here. Okay, one is the delivery part, and other one is the deployment part. So sometimes we take the deployment to multiple environments. So there we use sometime manual part. Okay, so for production deployment, we use manual approach in some scenarios because our environments will be different, right? So we are not sure that the deployment which works on stage will work on the production also, because the infrastructure wise those environments will be different. So before deploying to production, maybe we can go for some configuration change or something. So that part, except that, everything we can go for automation. Okay, so before moving to this session, I just wanted to share some information the MuleSoft is giving certification and training, not exactly training, but you can create account on trainingmulesoft.com and you can go to the courses. Okay, and where you can go for, let me hold, I'll show you exactly which course. So you can go for this course, okay, and try to complete this course 100%. Then only you'll be able to see the certification link in your account. Okay, then you can schedule it for wherever you want. But the deadline is 31st January. So please, help yourself. Take advantage of this, things provided by MuleSoft. So that's what. Let's go to our topic. Okay, so we have organizers. We have three organizers from Persistent and one is from PwC. Okay, so and little bit about me. So I have around 11 years of industry experience, and I'm in this integration domain from last 6 years almost. Okay, I'm a certified MuleSoft developer, certified integration developer in Dell Boomi, and I did my post-graduation from IIT Bombay, and still I'm part of alumni group there. And I'm proudly, I can say that I'm a Mule Meetup speaker also. Okay, so I love technical challenges, and in integration domain, I delivered like around 30 projects in my company. So that's what the knowledge today I'm going to share. Okay. So apart from that, if you want to connect me, you can connect me on LinkedIn. Okay, so this is the URL. You can, if you have any questions other than this topic, okay, so you can connect me on LinkedIn, and I'll try to help on those topics. Okay. Yeah. So okay, the topic today is like CI/CD. But as I said, like industry is moving towards the automation part. So this is one of the example of the automation. Okay, so that's what the continuous integration, continuous delivery, and deployment pipeline. Okay, so this deployment, as I said, sometime we can go for manual approach also. Okay, so the agenda is we'll talk about why we need CI/CD first of all. Okay, we'll see what are the pain points, and then we'll see how this CI/CD help us in improving our productivity or reducing our frustration. Okay, so yeah, so that's the first agenda. We'll set the context, and then we'll move towards the the deployment environment where we are planning to deploy our code, whether it's a Cloud Hub, RTF, or standalone. So there are different deployment strategies. But we'll take Cloud Hub today because we won't be able to finish the other parts. Okay, so we'll take Cloud Hub example. And we'll talk about dependency management tool, something we call Maven. And then we'll try to configure Mule Maven plugin so that it will help us in the deployment automation. And then we'll try to add the MUnit test cases using test recorders so that our pipeline will show us that how it's our test cases are getting executed, how the build is happening, how the deployment is happening. Those all three phases we'll see step by step. Okay, we'll see how we can source control our code. So that is source code management tool we'll see. So there are multiple tools available. So we'll take GitHub for this demo. There are other tools available. So we can go for Azure DevOps or Subversion or TFS. And then we have CI build tool. So yeah, we need someone to monitor the source code management if there are any changes committed to our source repository. So this guy, the CI build tool, will be continuously monitoring that repository, and if there are any changes or commit happen, it will check out that code to the CI build server. So we'll take Jenkins as a CI server. Okay, for this demo, you can go for Azure DevOps or TeamCity. There are multiple. Based on your organization, you can go for the other tools. So Jenkins, it's like Git and everything. So whatever is open source, I am making use of it. So yeah. And then we'll see the live demo, whatever we are talking here, all those points. So these are like stakeholders, we can say that, or players. We'll connect them in the one line and see step by step how those guys are helping us in our job. Okay, and then we'll see what next. So the organizer team or maybe Gaurav will take what exactly we are planning the next meetup or something. Okay, or whatever he has his own plan. Okay. Okay, so let's start with the why we need CI/CD. So we'll talk about pain points first, and then we'll talk about benefits. Then we'll justify why we need CI/CD. Okay, so I'll take one example where we're talking about the waiting time. Okay, so if you see here in the right corner down. So if you see analysis, design, code, and test, these are actually 4 phases of your SDLC. Okay, project management life cycle, or you can say project whatever software development life cycle. You can take whichever way you want. But these are the 4 stages. Important 4 stages comes in each and every project when you start designing till the deployment. Okay, so here, if I show you, there are 2 approaches I'm taking so that I can explain you that how the waiting time affects your time to market or customer requirement or the customer changes, business changes. Okay, so in first example, if you see here, we are taking long step. Okay, so first we are analyzing it. Okay, then we are designing it, and then we are coding. And then so if you see here, after code, the first test I'm doing, it's like maybe couple of months or maybe years. Okay, so when I'm testing first time, so that availability will be either a couple of months or the year. But in the second approach, we are taking small steps. Okay, so maybe you can say feature by feature, instead of implementing entire product, we are taking here feature by feature. So we are taking small steps. So you can see within a couple of weeks or within a month, we are ready for testing. Okay, so here second approach, if you see in the first approach, we are seeing that less context switching. So we are in mode of analyzing for a couple of months. Then we are in mode of designing couple of months. But in the second approach, within a week, we are context switching to the multiple phases. Okay, so here we need a lot of integration. Okay, within a less span of time, we need a lot of integration. So we need to code, we need to source control, we need to test it, we need to build it. So that context switching in context of delivery and deployment, I'm saying. Okay, but in second approach, we are adapting the customer's need. Okay, if there are any business changes, okay, if those changes happen in the second approach, we are actually adapting it. But in first approach, there is no chance. Okay, and time to market, we are getting it in second approach very quickly. Okay, so that's what this in. I'll take one more example. Okay, so here if you see developers. Okay, so in perspective of developers, we are talking here. So we have developer and we have DevOps team. Okay, so what happens here? Developer is ready with his code and he wants to deploy it in the production. Okay, but because of some priority work, ops team, let's say, is overloaded with okay, so ops team is overloaded and they are saying that, boss, right now we can't do the deployment. After 2 months, maybe they will give some tentative time saying that, okay, maybe after a couple of months, we'll be doing that. Okay. And then after a couple of months, they are returning our code saying that, boss, your code is having issue and please look into it. Okay. And give us the code without any issues. But during that time, let's say if you're talking about couple of months, this developer is already started working on some other project or some other feature or some other priority work. Now when this guy returns the code to developer, this guy needs to stop whatever he's doing and then need to analyze that code which was written by the ops team. Within 2 months, maybe he forgot how he implemented that project or how he implemented that feature. So he need to go from scratch and see where is the root cause. Okay, so this is one of. So we need to avoid or break this confusion wall between developers and the ops team. Okay, I'll take one more example where let's say this is a manual approach of integration, where multiple developers are working on a single project with a different features. Okay, and we're talking about a big project here. So we are not talking about small projects where in couple of weeks we can finish. We are talking about couple of months or a year, where manual approach was used to use while integrating the deployments, or we can say that the whatever code were delivered to from the different branches. So if you say couple of months, then definitely this guy, developer A or developer B, they'll be touching each other code, and then they are creating multiple branches in the source control or source code management environment. Okay, then those different or multiple branches, integrating those, building them, testing them manually by sysops engineers, it's a hell. Okay, so there as I said, it's a big project, right? So the integrating that part, it will be a hell for this guy, sysops teams. So these are the pain points. Then we'll see how this guy help us in the increasing the productivity or avoiding that frustration from from developers or DevOps teams. So we'll talk about the first point where we are saying that it improves the customer satisfaction and experience. So what do you mean by that? So when we are customer sees a flow of quality increases, when if you are doing instead of couple of months or years, if you do it in every week instead of having months and quarters of years. So if you're doing frequently, definitely there will be a customer satisfaction and the improvement in that experience. Okay. Then second point, software releases are less prone to the defects. So why we are saying? Because we are working on smaller or chunk of the project. So we'll deliver something which is less prone to the defects. Okay. So frequently we are, software releases practices, and we are reducing those risks for releasing and also improve MTD. So what is MTD? Meet to detect or meet to deliver. Okay. So that's what when we give it in the feature by feature or small chunk of projects implementing, and maybe in a week or a couple of days. If you do that way, then definitely we'll be reducing defects from the releases. Okay. And then third point is like we increasing development productivity. So how we are doing that? So as I said so if you do less context switching, so in manual process, right, we are doing from developer mode to the test mode to the build mode to the deployment mode. If that part we automate, right, so definitely developer will concentrate on his own work. Okay, he don't need to worry about other stuff, or quickly he'll get that his code has problems, he will fix it. So less context switching as a developer translating into more more productive. Okay, then he can focus on new features. So how he can, let me hide it. Okay, so focus on new features. So how he can, so the testing cost, right, the testing cost will be reduced drastically if you automate that testing part by using CI/CD. So over a time, meaning you can focus on new feature and the quality. So all these points are relating each other, so that overall we'll get a benefit or more productiveness, or the developers are more focused on their work. Okay. Now high employability, last point I'll talk about here. So as a benefits of CI/CD. So higher employee engagement. So how we can say that higher employee engagement here? So as I said, automation part removes the repetitive work. Okay, low value work. So definitely it will reduce the errors, and then improving your team engagement. Okay, so there definitely could be higher employee engagement. So by looking at these benefits, it helps overall meeting the deadlines and meeting customer requirements, business changes, and time to market with this CI/CD. So this is actually a diagram I have taken it from one of the presentation. Okay, so this is actually objective of the CI/CD. So more focus is here. Okay, so but still I'll talk about all the phases. Okay, so, but more focus, CI/CD focus is here from source control till the deployment part. Okay, but still I'll talk about all the phases. So if you are starting designing of your API, you'll start designing from the design phase. Okay, and then you'll publish it to Exchange, or if you are implementing directly a Mule app, you will go to these two locations. So either you'll go to the Exchange and from there to develop, or you directly go to the development phase. Then once your development is done, you'll source control it. Okay, so source control, you can use any tool. We have discussed multiple tools, but for this demo part, we'll talk about GitHub. Okay, so somebody is monitoring this. Okay, somebody means the CI build tool, or we can say CI server. In our case, Jenkins. So somebody is continuously monitoring, periodically monitoring. Maybe based on your requirement, you can monitor every minute or at the end of the day. Okay. So once your code is in a source control to the SCM, then it will download that code. In other words, we can say that checkout on the server, centralized server, and there it will test. Okay, then it will build, and then the build it will generate the package. So if you configure your pom.xml, we'll talk about that. So if you configure your pom.xml with properly, either a Nexus or artifact repository, that package which was generated out of the build phase, that will get source control there, or published or uploaded to the artifact repository. Okay, so you can manage releases from there. Okay, so that is the next thing. Then once your project is built successfully, either you can go to the sandbox or production. So based on your state phase. Okay, so you can go to the sandbox, you'll test it. Okay, you'll see that everything is properly working as per expectation. Okay, and then there you can monitor, automate testing, everything, alert. I mean, we have environment where you can see. And then this one we are saying, sorry, I'm going back. This one. So this either you can automate, and as I said, The sandbox and production, there will be infrastructure difference. Okay, this may be a single node, or this may be a cluster. Okay, so based on your infrastructure, you need to plan whether you want to go. If your non-prod and prod environment both are same, then I mean, maybe if you want to see the performance, right here, I mean, if it is not working properly, but there are chances in the production environment, it will give good performance. So you need to decide whether you want to go manually here, but till here, deployment to the sandbox, you can automate completely. Okay. Yeah, so we'll talk about the players or stakeholders and as part of CI/CD. Okay, so let me talk about the Anypoint platform first. So you need to have the Anypoint platform first. So we need the credentials from here. So go create the account. If you have account, then grab those credentials. Okay, and then once you have credentials, you can create the environment there, because the default environment will be sandbox and design. Based on your requirement, you can create QA, stage, or production here. Okay. So once these two things are available, we'll be able to connect this Anypoint platform. Okay. So you can go to the Anypoint. Everybody, maybe if people are not aware of it, then you can go to this link and then create your account. Okay. So this is the first step. Anyway, I'll show you as part of demo. I'll show you these steps again. We'll connect all these like dots I said, right? Let's talk about dots independently, and then as part of demo, I'll connect all those dots. Okay. Okay. So then we'll talk about let me hold on. This mouse, come on. You're able to hear me, right?
Yes, Ashish.
You able to see movement? My mouse is stuck. I don't know.
No, your mouse is stuck. Yeah.
Okay. Come on. Now? Yes. Okay. Okay. So we'll talk about Maven. So this is actually a somebody we can say Black Horse is an important guy, but we are not seeing it in the UI part. Okay. But in the background, this guy only plays a big role in our CI/CD process. Okay. So there is nothing magic happened. We are seeing automation, right? But this Maven only creates the magic. Okay. So let's talk about it. So you can download and install Maven. Yeah. So once you download and install, you need to set the environment variable M2 home. You can set it. Okay. And then once you set the Maven home, you need to check whether the installation is done properly or not. So you can just go MVN version. You can check, and you should get the proper response. So once these steps are done, you are ready to use the Maven. Okay. So as a Maven, we say this is a Java tool. Okay. So even you installed before installing this Maven, you need to have Java. Okay. Latest version of Java. So let's as part of our demo, we need Java 8. Okay. And then Maven, we need the Anypoint Studio 7. Maybe after 7.5. Okay. So yeah. So as I said, Maven, it's a dependency tool. Okay. And other way we can say that project management utility. So you'll implement and enhance your project development. Okay. So how it enhance? So basically, it gives you the built-in functionality. So in Anypoint Exchange, if you upload your REST API there, automatically it generates the Maven dependencies. You can go and see the Maven dependencies for your REST API. Okay, so it inbuilt. Okay, then Anypoint Studio. So after, if you create a project inside your Anypoint Studio, it's by default Maven enabled. Okay, so you don't need to do anything else. So it's automatically Maven will be default there. Okay, so you can once you create a project, add one activity, and you can from the background you can build it, you can test it, and you can deploy it. Okay, that project. Okay. Then comes the Mule runtime engine. So Mule runtime engine where, and one more thing in the Maven, right? Through Maven, from the Anypoint Studio, you can connect to the, you can do basically import and export activities from the studio. From the backend, you can run all the Maven commands, but from the studio, I'm saying we can run those import and export, right? That part. Then comes the Mule runtime engine. So how this Mule runtime engine come into picture when we are talking about Maven, right? So like packaging, testing, deployment, as I said, from the backend we are running, right? So that that will be with Maven Mule runtime. So that Maven will be running with this Mule runtime when we are deploying, right? So it will connect to the runtime engine, and then from there it will connect to the runtime manager, and then it will deploy. Okay. Installing third-party jars. So there also you can build a simple project, and then you can install as a jar inside your local repository. From there, you can add it as a dependency, or you can upload or publish that jar to the exchange, Anypoint Exchange, and from there your team members can use it. Okay. So for example, if I wanted to give one example of installing third-party jars, maybe you're building one global error handling, right? So you can build the jar, and then you can add it as a local dependency by installing in your M2 repository, local repository, or you can publish it to the exchange, and from there people can use it. So here in all four options, Maven is inbuilt. Okay. So that's what. And basically it works in life cycles. Okay. So there are three different life cycles: default, clean, and site. So default handles your project deployment, clean handles your cleaning your project, and site, generally we won't use this life cycle, but it handles the project documentation. So for using this site, you need to configure your pom.xml properly with the dependencies, okay, and libraries. Then only you'll be able to, whatever you define inside your pom.xml, based on that information will generate the documentation inside your target folder. Okay, once you run this inside target folder, you'll be able to see the documentation for your project. Clean, we know that clean how we use it. Okay. So yeah, so there are three phases, and inside this life cycle, there are multiple phases. So for default, it has around 23, I guess. So 23 phases are there inside default life cycle. Clean, I think there are three phases, and inside site, I think I'm not sure on these numbers, but don't worry about it. Everything is there in the MuleSoft documentation. We don't need to mug up anything. But in the life cycle, I'm saying there are multiple phases. Okay. So we'll talk about the really important part of the default life cycle. So generally, we use the default life cycle more. Okay. So here we'll talk about the important phases where we say that validate, compile. So whatever I'm saying here, you can simply write MVN validate, MVN compile, MVN test, all those things. But if you want to completely execute your default lifecycle, you can say that MVN deploy. So it will run all those phases till deploy. You can stop anywhere else by using, you can give specific name of the phase, like we'll talk about. So if I wanted to give one example, so if you want to execute entire default lifecycle, then we can simply say that MVN space deploy. So it will run validate, compile, test, package, and all this till deploy. But if you want to stop on the install, right? So you can simply say that MVN install. So what exactly these phases are doing? Let's talk about it. So validate, what it does, it validate whether necessary information is there in your project or not. Okay. Compile, as the name suggests, it's like compiling your source code. Okay. Test, if you have added test cases, it will run whether it's unit test cases or your functional test or integration test cases. Okay. Package is actually compiling and generating till mule.3, it was generating zip file. Now it's generating jar file. Okay. Then it runs integration. Sometime integration test needs to deploy your code, because you'll be connecting to in integration test, right? You'll run your complete code where you generally won't do the mocking part. Okay, you're actually connecting to, let's say you have any outbound call in this integration test case, then definitely you need to deploy that code and then run it. Okay, so verify, it runs the checks to verify whether the whatever package we have generated meets quality criteria or not. Based on your organization, you can set. Then install. Basically it's installing to the local repository. If you say mvn install right from your project folder, then it will install in the .m2 directory. We'll see that how that looks, and then finally deploy. So whatever package generated here, right, that will get upload it, or we can say the publish to the environment based on the pom.xml configuration. Okay, so as I said, if I want to run the complete deploy default lifecycle, I can run mvn deploy. If I want to stop on any particular phase, maybe I want to stop on mvn test, simply I say mvn test. It will run till till test, but it will run validate, compile, and then test. Okay, but generally we go for we generally clean the before building it. So with this before, I mean the previous build, right, whatever files are there, we'll be cleaning those files, and then we'll be rebuilding the package. Okay, so generally we go for mvn clean and then install. But in the MuleSoft documentation, they have given better you run this command. Okay, so where we have command, so we have mvn clean package deploy and then hyphen this parameter. So if you have any placeholders in your pom.xml, or you want to pass properties, okay, to the environment, then you can use hyphen capital D and the property name, and then you can pass the values. We'll see that. I have that scenario also, so we'll talk about that. Okay, then once you understand how we can use those phases, okay, then we need to configure our pom.xml. So inside the pom.xml, we need to give in which environment you want to deploy. Either you want to go for the Cloud Hub or Runtime Fabric, or you want to go for the on-premises. Okay, so accordingly you can configure your pom.xml. So as part of demo, we'll talk about the Cloud Hub deployment. So inside the Cloud Hub deployment, we don't need to mug up anything. Whatever configuration I'm showing you, it's not like we need to remember. It is available on the MuleSoft documentation. So I just copied from there. So inside the configuration tag, we need to give the deployment tag. So as I said, we'll be focusing on the Cloud Hub deployment. So here you need to pass all those information about the deployment. So if you, this is URI is the optional. Okay, if you don't pass it, automatically it takes the anypoint mulesoft.com. Okay, then you can pass some sensitive information as placeholders, and during deployment, as I said, right, we can pass those properties values or those placeholder values during runtime. Okay. Then we need to pass Mule version, your credentials. This will be your anypoint platform credential. Then you need to give the application name, in which environment you want to deploy that. You need to give reason, workers, worker type. Here there are more properties, something like object store v2 you can give. Okay, and in the properties section, you can pass the properties if you want. So we'll see how we can pass. Let's say you want to pass the port number, right, as a property. Okay, so that you can pass it here. And these are the Maven placeholders. These are like inside your application, you have any values, okay, any properties you are referring. Okay, so this is for Cloud Hub. Okay, if you have standalone requirement, then you need to give your Mule home and the Mule version here, where you want to, and what runtime you want to use. Okay, so this is standalone configuration. Again, I'm saying we don't need to mug up. All these things are there in the MuleSoft documentation. Okay, this is runtime. Here we need to provide a lot of information. Okay, so this is also provided on the MuleSoft documentation. And there it mentioned that for each and every tag, what are the possible values and what do you mean by that tag? Okay, so all that information is there in the MuleSoft documentation. I'll show you that. Okay, then we'll talk about the GitHub. So basically, there are two things. We need a web tool. from where we can see that and then we need a Git desktop application also. So better you installed Git on your system and then create account GitHub account on the web. So both the things we need. So once you create, and this is free, okay, open source, and okay, once you create the GitHub account, we'll be creating a repository there, and we'll be uploading, or we can say source controlling, or we can pushing our code there. Okay. So as I said, we need to install the Git on our system, so that if I want to clone it, or if I want to commit or push or add, all these commands I'll be able to use when you install the Git on your system. Okay. So this is self-explanatory. Okay. I don't want to spend much time on this. So and these are the commands in this order we'll generally use. Okay. Okay, then we'll talk about the continuous integration tool. There are multiple tools available. You can use Azure DevOps or Jenkins. There are multiple. So for this demo we'll be using Jenkins. Okay. So once you go download this exe file from this location. So once you unzip and execute, so it will ask you to check a lot of things. So it will check your Windows account first, and then it will check for the port. Once it's installed, it will give you the initial password. Okay, so better you note down that password, and then once you log in with that password, you can create account inside that. But before logging it, so first logging we need to do with the admin account, and admin password will be auto generated once you installed it. So you can find it somewhere in this location. I got it in my in this location. Okay, so better you check. I mean, it will pop up when you install, right? That time itself, it will pop up and it will show you where your initial password is. Okay, let's note down that password. Username will be always admin. Well, okay, once you're able to log into your, so as I said, right, port will be whichever port is available. Okay, by default it will be 8080, but it's up to you. Once you validate if 8081 is not available, you can go with some other port. Okay, once you log in, you need to configure JDK and Maven inside your Jenkins. Okay, so as I said, if you see here, you need to go to the, so once you log in, you'll be landing on this page. So you'll see dashboard. So dashboard. So first go and install the or you can configure the JDK and Maven. These two things we need to configure first step. Okay. Second step, we need to install some plugins. So plugins like Git plugin, source control management plugin, and Maven. Okay. So these plugins we need to install. So I'll show you how we can install those. So we can go to the dashboard, manage Jenkins again, and this JDK and Maven home, we are setting it in the global tool configuration. And the second, when we want to install the plugins, we need to go to the manage plugins option. Okay. So dashboard, manage Jenkins, and then manage plugins. Okay. Once these two things are done, then we can create the project or pipeline, we can say. Okay. So we can create the pipeline project. Okay. So there is a freestyle option available. We'll create that. Okay. As part of demo, I'll show you. And then first we need to configure the source code. Where is your source code? So you'll be giving that repository URL here. Okay. So, and then we need to give the scheduler information. So how you want to, how you want to poll that source code repository. So whether every minute or at the end of the day, or based on your requirement, you can set this. So as part of demo, we'll set all those stars. So it will be like every minute it will be polling that repository. Okay. And then we'll sorry. So once the schedule is done, there is a build target, or we need to set the goals. So here we need to select the Maven. Okay, so Jenkins, it won't do any magic. Okay, as I said, the guy who is doing magic is Maven. Okay, so there you need to provide the proper command. They call it goals. Okay, target goals. So here we are saying that clean, deploy, and this. Okay, don't add here MVN. make sure that you are not adding MVN. Okay, I was doing that mistake because from the command line we are using MVN, then full command, right? Don't add that here. Just add the clean package, deploy that. Okay, and then after build, you can configure the notification part if your build fails. Okay, or if it is successful and you want to notify someone, let's say your manager or someone, okay, saying that this build is successful, you can release now, like that. So you can mention that notification recipients here, and then your part is done. This is complete end-to-end configuration of your Jenkins. Okay, yeah. So too much talking. We'll talk about, or we'll start the demo part. Okay, so let me check. Anyway, we'll take questions at the end. Okay, if we have questions, we have a time. We'll at the end we'll do that. Okay, fine, right, Gaurav? You're able to, yeah. So you're able to see my screen, right? Okay. So this is done. Okay. So as I said, first point, we need to grab the credentials. So you can, definitely once, I mean, you are here means you have credentials. Then you can go to the access management here. We'll create environment. I don't want to use the default one. So I'll create the environment. Let me create QA. Okay, I want to do, deploy to QA. So yeah, so I'll give some name. Okay, and I want sandbox, not the production. That's it. Okay, now let me go to the for before that. Okay, it's created client ID in this. Okay. I wanted to show you something. Come on, load. Okay, so right now sandbox is selected. Let me change it to QA. Okay, so this step you need to do it. Okay, otherwise your deployment won't work. Okay, so we are switching to QA, and you're seeing that nothing is there. Okay, so clean, we don't have anything. So as part of your process, we'll be deploying one application here. We'll be running that application. Okay, so now this part is done. Now let's go to the Anypoint Studio. So Anypoint Studio, we need to do a few things. So you need to, installed okay, so you use this. I'm using 7.7. Make sure you're using this. And then okay, you go here, and if you already done, that's fine. You try to install this one. Okay, Git integration for Eclipse. Okay, because our tool is on top of Eclipse only, right? So this integration you need to install. Once you install this, you'll be able to see this perspective here, Git staging, right? Or sometime you'll get it by default. I am not sure, but if this is missing, then that is what I'm saying. So that is one requirement. Okay. So now we are done with the Anypoint Studio, Anypoint platform account, and then we have created the development or deployment environment. Now we are here in the studio. Okay, and we make sure that we have enabled the Git part, and now what we'll do is we'll create a simple project. Okay, new project. So I'll say that simple empty project. What I'm trying to do here is, so let's go here. This is publicly REST API available. Okay, I will try to use this REST API. So let's go here. And this doesn't have any data related to any live entity. This is all fake data, okay? So don't worry about it. It's publicly available. So this is what the information, if you change here the ID, it will change. So we'll try to use this. Okay, let me copy this. And we'll try to access this from our flow, okay? So let me drag, we'll close, we'll open fresh. So let me drag the listener first, okay? And then I'll drag the okay. I'll configure quickly. So I'll pass the user ID here as a URI parameter. Okay. And inside URI parameter, you guys are able to see, right? Do you want me to increase the font or something? You're able to see, right?
Just one thing here, there is a we are able to not, full screen. Can you go full screen? Is it already a full screen, Ashish?
I am in full screen mode.
Because
People, you can click on F11, you'll be able to see better. So attributes dot URI params dot ID. Okay. So what I'm trying to do here is, so I'll be passing this. Let's go with the default. Only what we'll do is I'm not doing any fancy. Okay. So don't worry if I'm going little fast because I wanted to cover a lot of things. So here I'm using placeholder because I wanted to deploy this code to the Cloud Hub. Okay. So, okay. Now here I'm saying that I'll be actually, I'm saying that user slash, I'll be using the URI parameter. Okay, so every time I want a different user. Okay, so okay, so now what we can do is, yes, okay, I put the placeholders, right? Let's save this first. I'll create a simple configuration file. I'm creating in the resources folder only, right? Okay, so new file config YAML. Okay, so here HTTP host port 8081. Okay. Okay. So this is done. And now what I'll do is I'll go global element, create configuration properties file. I'm using config.yaml. Okay. Okay. So yeah. Okay, so what we did is a simple, we have created for properties file, and then inside the properties, we have given the information for that place folder. And here, what I did is, if you go here, so we are trying to pull the user information. That's it. Okay. Now we will run it at the end. Okay. So before that, let's configure. So second part is also done, where we have implemented simple use case where I'm passing ID and it is giving me the user information. Now what we'll do is I'll try to okay, so I'm trying to add the test cases now. So we'll see that anyway. So I'm selecting MUnit test recorder for, by the way. Okay, so you need to have 7, I think after 7.5. Okay, to get that option, MUnit test recorder. So what a MUnit test recorder does is it's actually runs this application. Okay, and collect information in the background, all the information. Okay, so whatever information you pass as URL, right? And okay, so it's deployed correctly. So all things are good till now. So what it's asking me to provide or the call that URL. Okay, so okay, so localhost 081 / user / this. Yes, we are able to see that information, right? Let me. So definitely, if you go back, I will change it, no worries. But if you go back, this button is active now, okay? So what we'll do, we'll try to build this test cases, okay? So you'll get the name. Let's go quickly. So I have only one activity, right? That is outbound call. What we'll do is, we'll just mock this process, okay? So what we'll say that, don't call that. You just whatever information you have. So what it does, just now we have seen the output in the here, right? This information will be used for the mocking, okay? So if I go back here, then if you see down, let me create the first and then I'll show you where that information is going. So our test cases are ready. Okay, it will create that. Hope you are following me. I'm going little fast, but what I did is I'll recap it. So we have created test cases here by using test recorder. So as I said, if you have 7.7 or 7.6 or 7.5, you'll be able to see this option, record test for this flow. Okay. Otherwise, lesser than that, you'll see only this option. Okay, so third part is also done. So we have test cases ready here. I don't want to run it here. We'll run as part of pipeline only. So now we are ready with the test cases. We are ready with the implementation. Now we'll configure the pom.xml. Let's save all these things. We'll go to pom.xml. Okay. And here in the presentation I was showing, right, somewhere we need to add the configuration. So you see here configuration tab. Okay, this tag is empty right now. So what we'll do is we'll add information here. Okay, so already I have, okay, let me show you first where we can find that information. So here, if you go to the MuleSoft documentation, here you have all the information. Okay, so this is what I have copied. Okay, I didn't mug up anything or I didn't add anything extra. So from here, and then this is the command we are going to use. Everything is there. Okay, and then you can see that for runtime fabric, what are the instructions, and for deploying to on premises, what are the instructions. So as I said, for every tag, all information is there, description about that tag. Okay, what is exactly. So here you can see what are the possible values you can see. Okay, Mule version 4.3 and this username, it is a Cloud Hub username and password, application name, what application name you want, and so on. Okay, so environment, what environment you want, sandbox. So we have created QA, so we'll use QA. In properties, as part of application, you want to pass some properties, those you can give it here. For example, this one. Okay, then we have, let me show you what exactly we have. So let me copy first, and then I'll try to show you. So this is the, and we are focusing on the Cloud Hub deployment. Let me go here. Okay. Okay. So you see URI is optional. Okay. If you don't pass it, it will always take anypoint.mulesoft.com. And then Mule version, I'm saying that I want 4.3. Okay. So my Mule runtime is 4. And I put the placeholders here for my username and password. And I give application name as GitHub CI/CD demo. Okay. And instead of sandbox, we'll use it QA here. Okay. And worker, I said I want 1 worker, and worker type micro. So let me show you what exactly micro means. So micro means is 0.1 vCore. Okay. Oh, hold on. Yes, micro means 0.1 vCore. You can, based on your requirement, you can use it whatever you want. You can put the placeholders for all the information which is you feel that it's going to change based on the environment. then you can put the placeholder. But for demo point of view, I'm showing only two placeholders, but for other part, you can put the placeholder as if you see here, for everything is a placeholder here, okay, except this one. So you, based on your requirement, you can put, okay. So, okay, so, and I'm saying that this object store v2 is true. I don't know, somehow this is optional, but still it is compulsory now. I don't know what change happened, but if you see the documentation, this tag is optional. Okay, if you go here, workers types and object store, it is optional. See, required, it is no, but you won't be able to build with that. I'm facing problems, so I need to add that. Okay, so by default we need to add that. Okay, yeah, this is, let me close this. Okay, let me, okay, so yes, so now we are almost done. So we have configured here, and we are ready to source control our code. Okay, we are not going to do anything else. So let me save this. And now before going here, I'll go to my GitHub repository first. And let me check. Okay, so you can go here and you can create new repository. So I'll say that Jenkins hyphen okay, let it be private. I don't want to do it public. Create. Okay, so I have created. Let me copy this. This I want. Okay. Now I'll go to here. So our pom.xml configuration is done. Now what I'll do is I'll upload this code to the GitHub. Okay, share project. Okay. Create repository, finish. Okay, so you can see that now cylinder icon here. So we have created the repository locally. Now we'll go here. Now we see we are getting different options. Okay, so what I'll say is commit. Okay, we'll select all the files from here, use on this, and then we can okay. Let's commit first, and now let's say push head. So you can see that since my my Anypoint Studio is already configured with my GitHub repository, so new repository is automatically coming here. You see, okay. Now let's say preview. I want the master branch only. I don't want to create any other branch, but you can create. Let's say your project is already created. Now you can create the dev branch, QA branch, and all those. Okay, and then you can push code to your specific branch. And then once it is released, then you can merge with the master branch. Okay. Preview. Push. Let's go to the repository. Okay, refresh. So we are able to see the code here. Okay. Now what? So we are ready with the source control code. Now we are ready with the Anypoint platform also. Now we need someone in between. In between, that is like a CI build tool. Okay, so that, as I said, Jenkins we will use. Okay, so I have installed already. As I said, you can log in with your admin credentials. Let me log in, admin, and then I log in here. I land on this page. So you can go to the dashboard or new item. And before that, we need to configure few things. Okay, so you can go to the global tool configuration here, and first is the JDK, and then second is the Maven. Okay, so you click on JDK installation. So wherever your JDK is, give that path. Okay, so Java home you configured. Then second is the Maven. Click on the Maven installation. Give this link. Okay, so my Maven is here. Okay, so this bin location you need to give. Okay, and once this is done, then second part, as I said, manage Jenkins again and manage plugins. Why I said manage plugins? Because when you build a project, I'll show you that one also. So you can go here, availables part. Okay, so as I already installed, I won't be able to see that. Okay, so you go in available, search for Git, search for SCM, search for Maven, and install all those. So I have installed, you can see it here. Git is installed. You can see, go here, install section. Okay, so okay, for notification also you need an email plugin. So see Git client, everything Git specific. Once you say add Git specific plugin, all those will be added here. Mail, okay, email plugin, SCM. Okay, yeah, so for notification we need the email extension. See here, yeah, so email extension, credential plugin also we need. I'll show you why we need credential plugin. We need email, we need Git, we need SCM. Okay, so once you install this, then you are ready to create the pipeline project. Okay, so now you go here, go to the new item, you can give whatever name you want here. Okay, so okay, so what we can do is I already, okay, so let's say, so and select freestyle project. Okay, and now it will ask you to configure. Okay, so you can select Git, and as I said, we need that. Sorry, I think I need this link. Okay, hold on, guys. Yeah. Okay, you copy that link here. And since I'm not adding it first time, so I already created the credentials. So I'll use my credentials for this. So you need to give the GitHub credentials here. Okay, you can directly go here and create it. Okay, so I have created already. So I'll use this one. Okay, so if these credentials are fine, this URL is fine, then it won't show any error. Okay, so if I add something here, one, it will show you error after some time. Okay, see, it's not able to connect it. So you need to give proper URL here. Okay, now it will, yeah, it's gone. Okay, now we are selecting master branch. So we are working on master branch. Here you can define based on your requirement, whether you are working on dev branch or master branch or some other branch, you need to add it here. Okay, Git go with the auto option here. Then you need to poll the SCM, means the source code management. So here we can mention that I want to poll it for, you can give 5. Online you can see what is the pattern for your requirement. Okay, so I used the default one, which is 5-star, means every minute it will poll. Okay, okay, then you need to add the build goals. Okay, so invoke top level Maven targets. Okay, so here, as I shown, you need to select Maven and we need to give that command. Okay, so this command till clean. Okay, don't use that MVN. Okay, so once you go here, okay, so till here it's fine because we have placeholders there. We are passing these values, Cloud Hub username and Cloud Hub password name. Anyway, I'll change this credentials. It's not the right way to share the screen and show the username and password. Okay. Then the add post build action. So here you can define the multiple things you can define after post build what you want to do. Okay. You can do the email notification saying that if build fails or whatever, or you want to notify someone. Okay. Then you can do it here. So email notification, you see, you can give recipients here. But I don't have proper credentials, so I won't be doing this. But if you have proper setup, you can add it here. So we'll go with this and we'll see whether. So till now, we are done with the proper configuration. Here, if you see source control, we are getting it from here. Then build trigger, we are polling that source control management, source code management every minute. Then we are saying this is my goal. You deploy it, package and deploy. Okay. And pom.xml will take care of the deployment information. And then post build, I don't have anything, but you can add the notification. Post build, I don't have anything. Okay. Apply, save, and let's build now. Okay. Let's see. Boom. Let's see. So first time it won't work. Okay. So we'll see if it works, then it's eighth wonder. Okay. Yeah, it's polling. Yeah, that part is done. I'll show you here those phases, right? I was talking about if I run the till package, what are the things happening? You can see that it's cleaning right now. Okay. So as I said, clean has 4, 5 phases, right? I was talking about all these things will get executed here. Okay. So see, compiling is happening. And now you see test is happening. See, test phase, and it will. So cool. So test done. One test was there. Yes, it is working. So tests, it's actually deploying. Yeah, it's at wonder, man. It's it's without issues, it's working. Okay, so we have not. Let's go to the AnyPoint Studio. It's deploying here. Thank God. So yeah, so once it is deployed, I mean, meanwhile, I can take the questions. Guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Okay, so yeah, Gaurav. So once this is deployed, we'll run this and I'll show you one more iteration where we'll change something in the code, and then we'll see whether it's automatically getting triggered or not. Okay, that part is pending. So let it deploy. So meanwhile, we'll take the questions. Yeah, guys.
Yeah, just in the chat, and I will make you guys host, and you can interact with Ashish.
Yeah. Yeah, so I can see you're able to see my okay. Okay, so I only see one question. Sagar. Okay, so do we need to install Maven explicitly? When we install AnyPoint Studio, isn't install Maven? No, it won't automatically install. So we need to install Maven, and then, for example, if I want to install into my local, okay. I was showing you something. So we need to install Maven explicitly. Automatically won't install. Yes. Yeah. I think this is Rajat already answered. For installing into M2 a local repository, or you want to perform some Maven commands, right? Then definitely we need. Okay. Any other question? What's the importance of object store in configuration properties? Yeah, object store. See, this is default one. I mean, as I said earlier, I ran this without object store property giving here. But recently it's throwing error. It's going default to V1, okay, object store V1, and it's throwing some error. So that's the reason I pass it here. But what is the role of object store? That's what the question, I guess. So if you have anything in your app, right, related to object store, you need to enable it. Otherwise, it won't work. Okay. So in the Cloud Hub, object store v2 is the REST API. So that you need to enable. Otherwise, it won't work. Okay. So your object store. Okay. Any other question? Is the setup needs to be done for all the projects, like modifying the POM things we did? Yeah, here there is option we can go for the parent POM, where you can refer that parent POM in your all the projects. So there is option. But if you're not using parent POM, there is a way, parent POM option. If you're not using that, then yes, you need to do it for each and every project. Any other questions? Can we give me a MVN command dynamically because we have username and password? Yeah, yeah. I'll give it to you. So even I can show you. I'll change this credentials later. So if you want to, okay. First I'll show you the placeholders. Okay, Maven placeholders. So this is what I have added here. Instead of hard coding here, who was asking that question? Vamshi, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Vamshi. Yeah. So if you see here, instead of hard coding, as I said, like in Mule Docs, you can put placeholder first all these tags. Okay.
yeah.
So
So
yeah. So the command is like for demo purpose. I said like I wanted to show this one also, right? So if you see the command minus capital D hyphen capital D cloudhub.username. This is your key. Whatever name you want, you can give it here. But for readability, I gave said this is a CloudHub username, and then whatever username you have in double quote. Okay.
So my question here, Ashish, so we when Mule made up something, right, username. So if it got changed, okay, so we need to go to that build and we need to update it, right? Instead of that, can we make a call where we can username?
Yes, that is also possible. As I said, credentials, right? If we can go it here, just like credentials, I'm using GitHub credentials, right? Okay, dashboard. Yeah, I think it is successful. Okay, guys. Before that, let me. Yeah, I'll answer your question once. Okay, it's successful. Okay, that is like champ. Okay. Your question is like dynamically back to project and configure, not configure. Sorry. So configure here we are using here we are hard coding right here. That's what you are saying, I think. So instead of this one, we can like we have created credentials for this one, right? GitHub here. But anyway, here also we need to change it. Whenever you are changing, you need to change it here. Dashboard, manage Jenkins, configure system, manage credentials. Here you can create. You can see here that I have created one. Here you can create that, and whenever you're changing your credentials, right? You can come here and change it. You don't need to change in the job, and you refer these credentials there. Okay, Vamshi, is that the answer of your question?
Okay. Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Okay. Suppose we have team of 5 people, then we need to teach this process to all developers. No, you can standardize Shubham, right? Shubham. Okay, before that, any questions? Can we have MN command? Okay, Vamshi is done. Suppose we have team of 5 people, then we need to teach this process to developers. No, for developers, as I said, right, you can standardize the process. You can have the parent pom.xml. You can refer that. So your team members will be using only that dependency or reference in your pom.xml. Then as usual, you can implement with normal. So you can create a template for your project, okay, and ask everybody to use that template. And inside that template, you can have a reference to the parent pom.xml. Okay, and in the parent pom.xml, at only one place, you'll be having configuration for your deployment. Okay. suppose we want to add a few additional features in the current application. How can the application be redeployed with the changes? Will it happen automatically? Once you push your code to the repository, I'll show you that. Okay, so I'll answer to this question. So, and can we? Okay, Rahul, I'll answer that question. Okay, we'll change in the code and we'll see whether it's happening automatically or not. Okay. Can we also add access related policies so that we can restrict developers for specific operation? Access related, I didn't get this question. Anybody want to answer this question? Rajat? We can add a triggers once the commit is done, build can be, yeah. Rajat, I didn't get this Subham's question. Second, can we also add access related policies?
Okay. Access related policy, like we can have something like branch restriction, like some developer can commit to this branch, or we can make a branch protection
Is that
or something like that. Is that?
Yeah, Shubham, yes, is that the, I mean, the answer for your question? Are you expecting same or
Correct,
something
correct,
else?
I guess, yeah.
Okay, correct. Okay, Shubham. Yeah, so I'll show you one thing. Let's see that whether our deployment is working properly as we see here, right? This is what the output we are expecting from the final deployment. So let me go here. Okay, so user. Okay. Yeah, cool. See here, as the same thing we are seeing here. Let me pass the 2 here. So exactly the same response we are getting. Okay. Now what we can do is I'll go here and I want one more property here. Okay. I don't want to change the code. Or if you want to change the code, we can do that. But let me show the, okay, before that, let's go here. Close it. And if you go to the settings, go to the properties. So here we are seeing only one property right now, right? So let me change it and let me add one more property. And if you see the guy, it's deployed to the QA environment. Okay. So that's what our intention. Sorry, where we are. Okay, here. So what we can do is I'll say yes, port. Okay, and here I'm saying 8082. Now I have changed it. I'll save it. And then if you see here, see my pom.xml got changed. So automatically come here on stage. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll add it to stage changes. And here I'll add saying that added extra or added extra property maybe. Okay, so let me commit and let's push it. Okay, so let's before that, let me show you here. Where is my job dashboard? So Jan, right? This is my job. Okay, and only one ran. That was a manual. We trigger it from here. Now I don't want to do anything. I'll just commit it from here. Okay, I'm seeing preview, and I have pushed it to a master branch. Okay, push it. We'll just wait whether it's triggering or not. Okay. So this is the answer to your question, Rahul. So we made the change. Okay, and then we pushed the code to the our source code management. Now this job, we need to see whether this job is getting triggered or not automatically. Okay, let me refresh. Let's wait for 1 minute. Okay. Any other questions? It should pick that. Okay, so any other question? Is a pipeline being used to pass the arguments to our job rather creating jobs in Jenkins. Is pipeline being used to pass the arguments to our job rather than creating a jobs in Jenkins? A pipeline is like your, let's say right now we have freestyle kind of project, right? You can do it in phases. You can have Jenkins files, okay, and then each phase you can monitor whether test is working properly or not, whether packaging is done properly or not. So as part of one job, you can have multiple phases. There we are passing the arguments. Okay, so hope this is the answer to your question, Abdul. Okay. Whether it's triggered or not. No? What happened? Close. Okay, maybe. Let me check whether my repository is updated or not. So refresh. Yeah, it's updated 3 minutes ago. Yeah. So I think that, see, automatically it's triggered. And I think maybe it was waiting for that close. Okay. So it's triggered automatically. We have not done anything. Okay. So let me see the console output here. So you can change the command also. Okay. So right now we didn't change functionally. We didn't change anything, right? We have made a configuration change. So you can run this command by skip test. I mean something like you can add here something like, okay, sorry, this is hyphen. And then you can avoid running unit test cases. Okay, if you are sure that you are just changing the configuration, you have not done any functional change. Okay, so let's see that it's deploying now. Okay, so if I go to the application, once this is deployed, you'll be able to see one more property here. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's all I have from my side. Hope I have justified the topic.
There's a question, Ashish, from.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Can we parameterize the values Jenkins jobs instead of passing commands as -d? See, the credentials we can parameterize. I already showed you, right? So credentials, things we can parameterize. Other part, I'm not sure. Okay, but credentials, definitely we can pass the credentials as a parameterize. But other part, like QA environments, yeah. So yeah, that's what we do here, right? As I said, here you can parameterize everything, and then this QA, right? You can give it as a part of this command. Here we are passing these values, right? Here, but other than these credentials, I'm saying where you'll keep this, I'm not sure. Okay, so only credentials are accessible here. So you're giving credentials from there, but anyway, there also you need to change. So if you're keeping somewhere those values and your parameter, let it run. Okay, so if you go here, back to project, so configure, here you are saying that, I think that is what the question, right? Here you are passing, right? This is what you are parameterize, you're saying. So you need to keep it somewhere, right? So till now I'm able to use this only. Okay, credentials, I can use it from here. I can create the credentials inside manage Jenkins, manage credentials from here. Till now I have not used the other part, whether I can create the properties and then those can be used it here. Configure coordination. Yeah, so I'll take that question as a open question and I'll try to answer it. Okay. Can we, so please let us know if anyone wants to speak.